David with a chair. I know what this is. You with it? Talk to everybody.
For a minute. All right, I am tell you about this next song we're going to do. This next song is called Just as Sure as I'm Sitting Here. And it's one of my favorite songs in the show. It's not one of our best known, but it's one of my favorites, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, this song might sound like an inconsequential blues groove without much substance to it when you first listen to it. But it's really much more than that. It's a song about what the blues is really about. And what the blues is really about is the indisputable fact that in this life we get some good times. And then again, we get some bad times in this life from time to time. Now, this is useful information for people who might not know that yet. Some people don't know that yet. And maybe you're young enough to think that there ain't gonna be no bad times in your life. I mean, why would there be? You got your plan working, you got your thing together, you got your program working, you know what you're doing. I mean, you got this. What could go wrong, right? Right. But then again, on the other hand, see, maybe you're old enough to think that there ain't gonna be no more good times. Is that possible? Maybe you look like me when you get out of bed in the morning and the first word out of your mouth is, ow. Oh, I'm tired of saying that word. And I'm making it in the bathroom like a newborn giraffe, right? Wobbling back and forth. At this point in the introduction, what I used to do was go on to elaborate at length about the vicissitudes of being 75, which is what I am. Either hip, they both hurt, got a little spinal stenosis there, lumbar vertebrae. Oh yeah, you got the time, I can tell you all about it. But instead of doing that, I'm going to tell you something else. I'm going to tell you a story about a friend of mine named Dwayne Smith. I played with him a long, long time ago. He was a blind keyboard player, blind from birth. But Dwayne was only blind in the sense that he couldn't see with his eyes. Dwayne saw with his whole body. He could walk up to a wall and tell you when he was 2 feet from it by the feel of the air that was coming off the wall. He could walk down the hall and tell you where the doors were and whether they were open or closed. He could walk into a room and snap his finger and tell you whether the ceiling was high or low, and whether the room was small or large. He was truly amazing. And he didn't need any help from anybody. His Rolex was in his head. Right? And so one time, this was a long time ago now, Dwayne and Maurice and I were sitting in the lounge of the Riviera Hotel in Las Vegas, which isn't even there anymore. And we were having a couple of drinks in the lounge, and this is before the days when smoking was frowned on, like it is today. This was a long time ago, see, back in the 70s. And when I say it was smoky in there, I mean it was smoky. It looked like the place was on fire. Paul's microphone stand would have been just a sort of a vague shape in the haze. It really was awful. It was terrible. And at some point during the evening, I decided that I needed to complain about that. So I did. I said, God damn, man, this is bad in here. I'm not kidding you. This hurts. It's terrible. My eyes feel like a couple of scratched up ping pong balls right now. Dwayne turned his face to me and stared at me through that impenetrable wall of his shades. And Dwayne said 3 words. Are they working? Yeah, Dwayne. Yeah, they're working. And Dwayne lifted up his glasses, showed me what was supposed to have been his eyes. They vaguely resembled eyes, but they weren't. They were walls, and he was behind them. And he let me take in that reality for about 3 or 4 seconds and dropped his glasses back down on his nose and said, mm-hmm, just to show me what he thought about my scratchy eyes. And he was right. Sure he was. Of course he was. And what in the hell was I thinking of? Complaining about scratchy eyes when I was sitting across the table from a blind man. And that's it. That's just one of the more egregious examples of something that I do way too much. With a bowl on my knee and other hips and the pain, knee, oh God, I just, I mean really, what what's with the lip? There are hundreds of millions of people all over this world who would trade their pain for mine without a moment's hesitation or a second thought. I know that. I should know that. It does. And so now when we sing this song, I don't think about vicissitudes anymore. I think about the fact that life is short. Maybe we better enjoy it while we got it and quit being ungrateful all the time. In fact, I am just as short as I'm sitting here. Here we go. Let me say it again. Sure, sit here.